What is up, guys? My name is Jonathan, host here at The Jono Show, and we've got a tough topic for you today. We are talking in the Change Your Life series all about friends, all about parents, and this one's going to get rough, so buckle up. What's up, everyone? My name is Jonathan, host here at The Jono Show, and I'm so excited to bring you this video. We're in this little mini Change Your Life series that I felt really inspired to come up with after I realized just the serious impact that relationships, specifically those with people who are close to us, the relationships that we have with people, on our phones, through social media, and just realizing the importance of that in my own life and the impact that it's had on my own life and my ability to do better in jobs, to do better in my business, to do better impacting my community. And so I wanted to put this together for you in hopes that it would resonate with you and maybe help you as you're thinking about pursuing your potential. And that's, of course, what we're really passionate about here at The Jono Show. And so I'm excited to talk to you about this today. It's a little bit of a sticky subject, right? It's kind of a weird one when we're talking about our parents, our friends, people who are really close to us, people we grew up with, and a lot of times the negativity and the toxicity that these people bring into our lives without meaning to. And that's, I think, what makes this topic so difficult. And so we're going to get into it today. I have a couple of pointers for you about setting boundaries with these people and how to continue to have them in your life in a healthy way that allows you the space to grow personally. So again, I am so thankful for you joining us. If you would consider leaving us a thumbs up, maybe commenting if something really impacts you, maybe there's a point here that really grabs you, and sharing this with a friend. I think sharing is caring in a lot of ways. And, while this video may not strike you, maybe you have a wonderful relationship with your parents. Maybe you know someone else who struggles a little bit with that. And so sending them this video could be just the thing that they need. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. This one's tough, right? We have so many people who work with family members. We have so many people who run a business with their husband, their wife, their mom, their dad. I've interviewed people on our other podcast show, The Venue RX, who work with their parents. I run a business with my wife. You can run businesses with siblings. And so this idea of working with your family or being in close proximity with your family or doing something with your friends seems really, really good to a lot of people. But at the same time, there are so many people that say, don't work with your family. Whatever you do, don't work with your family. Don't work with your friends. Be ready for it to screw up the relationship. And I think there's merit to both of these sides. But really what we're talking about today is when you have parents, family members, right? Friends in your life who are giving you advice, and certainly well-meaning advice, but the advice is not helpful to where you're trying to go in your life. If you've decided that you want to make a change in your life, you've decided that you can't stand any longer being broke, and so you want to do a different job, or you want to become a coach, or you want to, whatever it is, you want to change careers, maybe you want to stick in the same career but go work for a different company or whatever, right? And then you go and vocalize that to your community. It's a very powerful thing when you decide, you make that determination, hey, I'm going to make this change with my life, and you're bold enough and being vulnerable enough to state that to your community, right? We talked in video number 1 here about this kind of herd mentality thing. When you're at that moment that you're willing to kind of speak up and say, hey, this is my truth, this is what I want to do, this is the direction that I want to take my life, it's a scary thing. You're putting yourself out there, right? And so it's very important what happens next. What happens next a lot of times, especially if you set a big goal for yourself, something that is really big and maybe especially different from what you've done in the past, you are going to get undoubtedly well-meaning friends and family giving you this type of corrective advice. And it comes from a very, very, very good place, although it has a very, very bad effect. So let me just play this out for you. Let's say that you want to change careers, and you went to school for chemical engineering, but you really just realized that you're passionate about baking, right? They seem totally different, but for you, just something about combining the ingredients all together with the baking, and it's always something you've done. You're passionate about baking. You love the baked goods. You follow a bunch of Instagram accounts about baking. I don't know. This is a random example, right? But you want to make this switch, and you're not finding any work being a chemical engineer. And so you're like, you know what? I want to start a bakery. And you tell that to your family and friends, and of course your parents who help you pay for school are like, what are you talking about? You have this degree. Why aren't you working for an engineering company? Why aren't you working for a pharmaceutical company? What are you doing? A bakery, right? Now they may not say that. They might say, hey, look, I love that you're so passionate about baking. That's really good, and we love that. But what about that as more of a hobby? Because you got this amazing degree, and being a business owner is one of the toughest things that you can do. Most small businesses fail, 30% or 60% or 80%. They're going to spit some statistic at you about how many businesses fail and how, it might be a better bet to maybe double down into your career first, get that stable job, get that stable paycheck. And then when you're, ready to kind of move into the next stage of your life, then start the baking thing, because, that's really a lot riskier of an option, right? And what are they saying? They're saying that to you because they love you. They're not saying that to you because they want to kill your dreams. They're saying that to you because they're honestly concerned about you, right? But they don't know what's inside your heart. They don't know how passionate you are about this. And so when you hear something like that from them, you have got to realize that even when it comes from a well-meaning place, it is not encouraging you along the path that you've decided you want to go. And so you've got to kind of put that advice in a bucket. Put it in like the friends and family bucket in your mentality. And you're going to have this happen again with friends. It's not just family. You're going to have it happen with friends. And they might be a little bit more cavalier about voicing their opinions about how, that's a stupid idea. Why would you do that? We just spent all this time in school and you want to go do baking? Like, come on. Give me a break. What do you know how to bake, right? You're going to hear some of these things, some of these challenging statements. And you've got to realize that, sure, once or twice hearing that is fine. And being a strong person and being really decided that you want to be a baker, right? You're going to let that roll off the first or second time. But then once that starts to be repetitive, once you start to hear that from your parents and maybe your siblings and, maybe people in your circle, that is all this course correction, these voices that are trying to kind of put you back into that place that you've decided that you don't want to go. And so if you allow yourself to continue hearing those voices and don't have strategies for dealing with them, you're going to end up quickly giving up on those dreams and rationalizing to yourself why, you're totally right. It's a lot safer of an option for me to do this other thing over there. And then guess what's going to happen? 5 or 6 years, you're going to be working a job that you don't like, wondering why you're even doing it. Your life is going to have progressed, but you're not going to be doing something you're passionate about, and you're going to wonder why. And it's because you allowed yourself to be talked into this different life track out of what you wanted to do, and you allowed yourself to go into this place because of all of these other reasons. What you're doing is you're taking on the fears of these other people. You are following this life plan and this life path that other people have for you without thinking about yourself. And you've given up that dream for the safety. And I think we have that happening so much in today's environment. We have people willing to sacrifice so much for safety. And I just want to put that out there. I want you to think about that as you're considering your own life. So as we're talking about boundaries, I've got a couple of things here for you. First one, you have to be clear and concise when you are defining your boundaries for people. And what I like to do here, and this is something I've done in my own life, is when I'm going to set out to do something that I feel like is really, really big, and I have a vision and a dream and something I'm so passionate about, but I know that everyone won't understand. And I know that if I get into a conversation, I will get emotionally worn out explaining to my mom or explaining to my dad or explaining to someone in my circle about how I'm passionate about this, I know it will work, and all these other things. And a lot of times we don't have a list of bullet points that we're reading off to someone in a conversation, right? We're just having a conversation with them. And so it's hard to be structured and organized. I challenge you to, if you care about this person, this relationship, and you know that they're going to give you some negative feedback, I would go and I would write out a little bit of a manifesto, if you will, kind of an idea of, hey, number 1, number 2, number 3, these are the reasons why I want to do this. This is why I feel called to do this. This is why I love it so much. This is why I'm willing to deal with all the garbage that might come with it, right? this is, some of the market research that I've done. This is what I haven't done. And this is the type of support that I'd like from you. And I think putting that last section in there is really, really, really important, because when you verbalize very clearly, very concisely, and I think in written form is best, you can send it in an email or whatever, it gives you kind of ground zero to go back to when you're even doubting yourself. And then it also sets the expectation very, very clearly for how these important people in your life can treat you. I think it's easy to just say, screw your friends. Like, they're not gonna, if they don't fit your future, then whatever. But I think you should think more empathetically than that. It's not just saying, screw your friends who don't have any dreams. It's about maybe being an inspiration to them as they watch you stick your neck out and try to do something you're really passionate about. Maybe you're gonna give them the courage to do the same thing, right? So again, coming up with a list of things, very clear, very concise, sending an email. I like to do that because I don't have a lot of time, like I said, to go verbalize again and again and again in conversations on the phone. And it's so easy to get stuck on the phone, especially with family members. But if you just write that down, boom, you've got it down. You can go back and reference it. They can go back and reference it. And it gives them a little bit of a guidepost to understand, all right, Jonathan's going to be working on this. This is what Jonathan's passionate about. He's verbalized that this is what he's going to do come hell or high water. And so I need to, encourage him and get behind him, or I need to get out of his way. And then it won't come as any surprise if they are starting to be negative and give you that feedback that that is actually pulling you away from your dream and just really hurting you and hurting your inspiration, your motivation, and hurting your drive and your passion for what you're doing. It's going to come as no surprise to them when you say, hey, look, thanks. I hear what you're saying. I know you're coming from a good place, but I can't hear that right now. I want to keep running. I want to stay in this race. I want to keep, consistent. And even though I'm going to fall, and even though I'm going to make mistakes, and even though I'm going to hit some bumps and some roadblocks, I'm going to keep going, right? You can say that and be very empathetic, and you can say that and be very kind and loving, but you can also set that boundary very, very clearly from the start by writing that email out and then providing that clear communication whenever there is that negativity that comes up. And it most certainly will. Now, the other thing that I really, really like to do is just take a moment and understand myself personally and my relationship with that other person. I have a different relationship with my mom than I do with my dad, different relationship with my sisters, each one of them. I've got 3 younger sisters, don't have any brothers, so I don't know what that's like, but I have different relationships with my cousin and with my wife and my kids and all of that. And so just taking a moment, understanding your limits personally, how much of a conversation can you have with this person without it going in a direction that is going to be futile, that's possibly going to hurt the relationship. You know what I'm talking about. If you're listening to this right now, you have that person in your mind that if you get into a conversation about some topic with them, that it's going to get heated. And, maybe your parents help pay for your school. So the second that you're talking about your aspirations to do this other thing that's not really something they're super, super excited about yet, because they haven't seen the vision, they haven't seen the payoff, they haven't seen everything good that's going to come from it, right? That might be a topic that, you can only talk to them about for 5 or 10 minutes, right? And you've got to know those limits, and each one of your relationships are going to have different limits. So just take a moment, think about the different relationships in your life, and kind of give yourself a permission to only talk to them or only engage with them up to that limit. And then don't let yourself go more than that. It's so easy to think, just having this conversation is fine. And then you walk away from the discussion feeling really defeated and like you can't, do it. Oh, what was I thinking? Right? And again, that's that course correction. So I want to challenge you today. If you're thinking about making a big change in your life, if you want to do something big, different, better, switch it up, whatever it is, right? Do it. Do that thing, but give yourself some time to set those clear boundaries with the people in your circle so that the expectations are set, so that you are clearly giving them a picture and a message of the type of support that you'd like them to give you. And then it will come as no surprise when you need to say, hey, look, I can't hear that from you right now, right? These things will really, really help. I would love to hear from the comments if you've used any of these in the past, where you're at in your relationships. have they been really supportive? Have they not been really supportive? And this not only goes for the relationships in your real life, right? But Instagram, Facebook, when you post stuff, the types of feedback that you're getting from those folks count as well. So let me know in the comments, do you get flack? Do you even put your dreams, your goals, what you're doing out there? Because I know a lot of people don't even talk about them because they don't want to get that negative reaction. So let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear that. And I hope you guys took a lot of value from this. I know this is something that's helped me in the past with my relationships and the different business endeavors that I've done and that I'm still working on. So really appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.